The Society for Vascular Surgery, under the leadership of Richard Cambria and Peter Kulvitsky, has initiated audiovisual interviews with the pioneers of vascular surgery. This is part of an effort by SVS to develop archives to preserve the history of SVS, as well as vascular surgery as a separate subspecialty. A committee was formed called the History Project Work Group, chaired by Jimmy Yao, with Norman Rich and me, Roger Gregory, as members of a committee. Because of the workload, an expansion of this committee was needed. William Baker, Mark Eskandari, Walt McCarthy, William Pierce, Melina Kibbe, Peter Lawrence, and Kid Cherry were added. Today, we will be interviewing the internationally renowned vascular surgeon from France, Dr. Olivier. Dr. Olivier, thank you for agreeing to this interview.
Thank you.
In conjunction with me, Roger Gregory, and the famous Jimmy Yao. Dr. Yao?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank you,
to
Dr. Yao.
our interview program. Just like everything, like Roger always say, there's always a beginning. So we would like to know some about you, your young day, where you born, where you went to school. Can you give us a little background on that?
In fact, I'm 62 years old. I was born in Paris. I studied in Paris. Maybe I was lucky for that. I studied in Paris. I graduated in medicine in Paris. And I went during more than 2 years to begin research in Quebec City. And in Quebec City, I met a guy I really loved, who wasn't a surgeon, but who was a specialist in infectious disease. And he gave me I wanted to make research with him, and I began research on graft infections. And from that, I came back in France and trained for vascular surgery. It's a long time ago anyway. It's something like 30 years ago. And I continued this research, and I met great people. I met a surgeon. He didn't train me, but we became close friends. He was Edward Kiefer, and we made a long road together in a journal, in creating the dynamics in vascular surgery. So that's my way. I married 30 years ago. I have 2 boys. Now they are not boys. One is lawyer, the other one is in drugs. But and I'm very happy. And very happy to come here every year.
What's your position now in your hospital? Are you?
Yes. Today, now, I chair one of the 3 or 4 academic departments of vascular surgery for the Paris universities. Mm-hmm. And I still do my job every day as a surgeon. And also, I have the great honor to chair, I think it's something like your American Medical Association, mm-hmm. but for France, with we have 42 medical specialties in France, with all the 42 specialties inside. And I've been elected for that, so I'm very proud of it, because it's important for the defense of medicine and of quality medicine.
We know Ed Kiefer.
Oh.
I have invited him come over here many times.
Oh, yes.
I got to tell you the story about him. When he first came to United States, always arrived around 3 o'clock. The first thing he would do, he would go to a steakhouse, have a nice big steak, eat it, and then go to bed.
You know,
that's Ed Kiefer.
When you tell me that, the first time I came in the United States, one of the first time, with him, because we quite always at the end came together. The first time it was to one of your meetings. It was very cold. It was very cold. And the first thing we did was we went out of the plane and to the hotel, and then to have a big stay. But the best story, the same story, several years later, we came here with my wife, and he couldn't take the same plane than we did. But his secretary phoned me. I was in the car going to the airport. His secretary phoned me several times, and I was anxious. I told my wife, oh, he is not going to come. Maybe he had several operations. That's a pity. And in fact, suddenly I got the secretary, and you know what was the message? The secretary told, since he cannot take the same plane than you, he just asked me, tell him not to be sure that he make the reservation in Morton's.
Morton, that's the place. Yeah, that's it.
But he was a great man.
He's a great man. We miss him. And sorry that he died recently.
Oh, yes.
And he's a great surgeon, a great leader in France.
And also a great man.
Surgery.
Very generous, very interested in everything, history, literature, music.
Yeah.
He was a great man.
Now, right now, endovascular surgery is very popular. I'm sure that is happening in Paris. How you train your surgeons for endovascular?
So it's the same done here. Endovascular is very important now. At the beginning it was tough because you spoke about Ed Kiefer. 15 years ago I was not in his hospital, and I had a good radiologist in my hospital, and we both wanted to do endovascular, and he told me, you have to fight. It's important. You have the opportunity to do it. So we did it. And today, I think that in France, at least, most of the endo is done by the vascular surgeons in vascular units. Radiologists don't do so much. Cardiologists do, but most of the vascular surgeons do. Most of endo is done by vascular surgeons, and for the training, it's included in the training of the young vascular surgeons. They have to go in most of the units, of the academic units, do both, and they have to learn how to do the endo. Not only for aneurysm, for all the peripheral.
Do you use simulator?
Simulator, the simple answer is that it's quite expensive. We are trying to have one in our university soon, but it's not very used now.
It's not.
No.
I don't think our institution use any. We don't use it.
You don't?
No.
We don't. That's
Because for the same reason, it's expensive.
yeah,
To get one is too expensive.
too expensive.
And the trainee, no matter what you do, they still want to go the real thing.
Definitely, we train them in the same way we were trained for open surgery, by coaching, by being with and so step by step.
Yeah, that's true.
In the unit I chair, we also do laparoscopic surgery. And we are, I think, we have more than 300 cases. But it's also a story. It demonstrates how we can sometimes progress. I don't tell that it's best that we do some by laparoscopy, most of the aneurysm using endo, and some with open. But how did we come to that? It's because about 15 years ago, at the beginning of AAA devices, there were some problems. And I was requested to make an evaluation of that. And in my unit, we were not allowed for 1 year to use AAA devices because of conflict of interest in evaluating the dossier. And my associate, he is quite younger than me, but he told me, we must find something. Do you agree? For I develop laparoscopic surgery and anastomosis and so. And so we did it. And now we do it, and we even train younger surgeons. I don't say that it is a panacea and it will become important, but it also demonstrates that training and being with the young people create the dynamics.
Now, I've been interested in laparoscopic aneurysm resection. Can you do that in a timely fashion? How much time does it take to do one?
It's my associate because he's younger. He did it, but now it's for him to make a proximal anastomosis with a tube, for instance. It takes about 20 minutes, 22 minutes. So,
Wow.
but for him,
But the whole case, is it,
it is maybe, we looked at that, not in a prospective fashion, but we looked at that maybe it's half an hour or 1 hour more, honestly.
that's not bad.
No, it's not so
Now,
bad.
is the time in the hospital less?
It is a little less, a little less.
Did you see advantages for doing this?
They have a faster intestinal,
Okay, less ileus.
yes, less ileus, that's sure, less ileus.
How about rupture aneurysm? What
Oh, for
type?
ruptured, we use endo.
You use endo.
Yes, most, half enough. Half enough. Half endo, half open. Depends on who is the surgeon in charge, how is the patient.
Very interesting. Are you the only unit that does the laparoscopic?
Not now, yes. In the unit that Edward Kiefer chaired, one of the young associates that we had in training about 10 years ago also do. He also does.
What do they see as the advantage?
I don't know if it's important, but the patient sees it. Because, it's in the same way when I finished when I became only vascular surgeon, cholecystectomy came. And 5 years later, all cholecystectomies were done by laparoscopy. It's not the same for vascular surgery, but now we have about 5, 6, 7 maybe centers in France doing laparoscopy. Not all routinely, but it demonstrates that
Very interesting.
How about robotic surgery?
robotic
What do you have
surgery.
any opinion on that?
We discuss often about that. First, robot is very expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah.
Second, we have 2 hospitals in Paris that have the robot. And these hospitals have vascular colleagues. But even for aortic surgery, they did much less cases with the robot than we did with laparoscopy. And it still takes a very long time. So I'm not sure there is a great future for that. I'm not sure. And doing everything by the hand, I think it remains important for the surgeon.
Did you spend any time with the military? Did you have to do military service?
No, I didn't do, but I'm very close with military vascular surgeons. They don't have a lot, and I'm a great militant. I'm in favor of helping them to have one vascular surgeon trained.
Endovascular surgery is getting more people are doing it. Open surgery is getting less and less. Are you concerned about in someday the people don't know how to do open surgery? We are very concerned about it.
I'm very concerned. And about 5 years ago, I was invited in a European meeting to have a debate with a guy who wasn't a surgeon. He knew a lot about medicine, but he was mostly in philosophy. And the debate was, in 10 years,
Nobody.
classic as we are, vascular surgeons. We don't need that. We will have all with endovascular. And my argument, and I'm sure it's true, was that if people don't know anymore how to do a very difficult case with the superior mesenteric, the celiac trunk, and so and so, if that happens, many patients will have, oh, it's too difficult. We cannot, because there is not the specific device for it. And I'm very anxious with that.
Yeah.
I think that anatomy is important, and that conventional surgery, teaching conventional surgery remains important. At least that's what we do. That's what we
Now,
do.
in France, vascular surgery is independent specialty, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be a vascular surgeon, you have to take the European Common Market exam, or what?
No,
What's the system?
that's an example of the difficult things in Europe. In fact, I'm not going to make politics, but health is subsidiary in the European treaties. That means that each country keeps
Their
its
own.
rules for social security, for health insurance, but also for the training. And the diploma that is important to have is the diploma. You are certified for vascular surgery. That takes, you are a resident during 5 years now, and then you have a fellowship, and then you are vascular surgeon. And then you are vascular surgeon in France. That diploma is valid elsewhere. If a French surgeon speaks English, he can work in London. Sometimes that is a problem. If a Romanian surgeon wants to work in France, if in his country you have a vascular diploma, it's valid in France. But there is no European diploma of vascular surgery. And you have still discrepancies between countries. In some countries, vascular surgery is recognized. In some, it is not. France was one of the first with Edouard, once again, with people like him, Edouard, and Mr. Cormier, and the first one, Jacques Houdot, and so we had that from the beginning. But in UK, when I was fellow, it was not recognized. And even in US, it didn't. It came later, the official, I think, vascular surgery diploma. And it's exclusive. When you are vascular surgeon in France, you are no more general surgeon. That's new. And it's the young people, I was not totally in favor of that. From now, you rapidly choose if you want to be vascular surgeon, gastrointestinal surgeon, urology, and so on and so on.
You know, recently in America, the Society for Vascular Surgery and the International Cardiovascular merged together. So the international component is a little bit gone. What do you think about that? That would affect the international relationship?
I don't think so. I think it was logical and it was good because, from what I know, Edouard Kiefer has been the representative for France of the ICVS.
Yeah.
And I helped him a long time. And people didn't go to the meetings of the International Society.
Yeah, true.
And we were in favor of people coming to the SVS meeting.
Yeah.
We always said it's important to go there. Please go there, to go there. So the merging, I think, it was positive.
Well, the Society for Vascular Surgery is very interested to reach out to international. They have a new category of membership, the international member. And they also give out a visiting scholar for young surgeons who come to the meeting and stay on to visit center. And I just want to know you will support this and recommend some of your young surgeons to apply for it.
Definitely, and in fact, what I can tell you is that 2012, 2 years ago, I was the president-elect for the French Society for Vascular Surgery, and I'm still in the board, and I will promote that.
Yeah,
I will promote that, definitely.
The society also want to develop different chapter. You know, the French chapter.
So I didn't know that, honestly, and I would like to help.
Yeah, okay.
Really, I would like to help.
I would convey the message to the chairman of the international committee that that need to be.
Thank you.
That to be developed.
I will do my best.
Good. And John Rico, he is the president now, right?
For the European Society. Yes.
John trained in our Northwestern program.
I know, he often told me that, and his wife too. Yeah. He often speaks of the time he spent with you.
We should, put some effort to develop international exchange.
Definitely.
Global, when we talk about it, I want to ask your opinion on internet. How can we use internet to improve more international exchange? Like the podcast, the procedure can be televised. Maybe we should have more teleconference.
Yes, I think that could be good, more teleconference. And sometimes to have not joint project, but in the same time on a topic decided together. We have our board meeting in France in 2 weeks. I will speak about that.
Yeah.
All these points.
I would like to see something happen with more use of internet.
Oh yes.
To promote both sides. You have any opinion on that?
I do, and I think we're really together in this area of opinion. Let me ask you another question, Dr. Olivier. Obviously, you have had a huge amount of academic activities with publications in journals, book chapters, abstracts. You've had a huge success. How has this happened, do you think?
The success?
Yes. How do you attribute this? Has this just been hard work? Has this been luck? Has this been...
No. Hard work, you don't think about that. Some people you meet give you the taste of working, but you don't think it's work. It becomes pleasure, and you do more. And you want to make better, and to always make better. And you see that, I have to operate, but it's also important to help the other to publish. And it's also important and you don't see the time.
Now, what this really brings up is time management. Can you give us some tips, any tips on time management? How you've been able, we all have the same amount of time. How have you been able to be so effective and efficient with your time?
Time management is the most difficult.
Yes.
Because we have our cœur de métier in French, our main activity, which is to be a surgeon and to remain a surgeon all the life. But we have that, and we say, I will do better. I will better schedule different things. Even today, I see that it's very difficult. So there is one recipe. It's to have less and less sleep. That's a joke, but working hard at night, working hard early in the morning. But I like that. We all like that.
Tell us about your mentors. Who have your mentors been, and what have they done for you?
They were different. I spoke about a guy who was specialist in microbiology and infectious disease. He was not a surgeon. He gave me, I wanted to make research. I wanted to progress. And then I met several great surgeons. I spoke about Edouard, but Mr. Cormier and several, and rapidly I knew that I wanted to be vascular surgeon. It's to meet people, to meet people and to build his own personality by these different meetings. Everyone is different, but you catch something. You catch something, and the important thing is to give more than you took, and so to build your own personality and to help others to do that. It's the best we can do.
The Journal of Vascular Surgery, we have received a lot of articles from foreign countries. Is that you think is the best journal in vascular surgery, or you don't?
I definitely think that, because, but there is it's very amazing because when we sent a lot of papers to GVS, and even last year we still have papers, and my first important papers was accepted. I was in the GVS. I was very proud of that, but that's life. Edouard Kiefer. I'm sorry, but I always come to this friend in memory to him. He created with another of my friends. They are older than me, but he created with Ramon Berger a journal, Annals of Vascular Surgery, that was very original because it was a journal that was simultaneously published in French and in English with the same titles, the same pages. And Edward and myself and maybe two other people, we translated all the English papers.
I didn't know that.
And Ramon, and the journal was published simultaneously.
Raymond.
May we? And when Edward retired, he told me, you will become the editor. And I was editor with Ramon during 3 years. And I continued to translate. But finally, I did it for free, but it was too much. You spoke about time, difficult. And now we have another option. I'm still the editor. The interest of the journal, it's a good journal too, but the interest is that people can submit, either in French or in English. Maybe in 10 years it will be only in English, but they can. It's in the same system, the same than for GVS. And I chair all the European papers. And when a paper written in French is accepted, then I translate it into English. And what we still do is that for each issue, all the abstracts are translated in French, and they are on the website. It's the official journal of the French Society, which means that not all the French surgeons speak English. All have the access to the French translation of all the abstracts, and for each abstract, a link to the English paper on that.
So you're taking over from...
And I will do it until I cannot.
You know, the Chinese have an edition now.
And I met Chinese there, and we are very happy to do that together.
I hooked them up. I introduced Professor Liu to Raymond.
Definitely. And in fact, that's what I say. For me, this GVS remains and will remain, and that's normal, the major journal. But Annals is a good friend
good international journal.
Also
Yeah.
definitely, and we
Yeah.
can see it. The number of
You have
manuscripts
Spanish
increased.
edition. You
Yes, and
you
we
have
had the French, and
And
so
China
it's really
now.
an international journal, even more than the European journal, because it's really an international, and Brazil,
Yeah.
and
They have a
it's common.
Chinese edition.
Oh yes, and they come at
Yeah.
the board meetings and
I
so,
know.
and more papers come from China,
I know.
and good papers.
Tremendous.
China production of scientific is going up like this.
So for me, these two journals
You're
are
going to be
complementary.
very busy.
Yeah,
You're going to be very busy.
I like it.
Good.
I like it. But I also like other things. I also like music. That's not.
You like music. He's a music man.
After a fashion. Let us ask you another, perhaps a final question. Do you have advice that you could give to young vascular surgeons?
I try to find the good English wording, in fact, because, at least in France, it's more and more difficult for doctors dans la société, in the world we are in France. It's more and more difficult. Studies are long. It takes a long time before being a vascular surgeon. And what I would say is, do not be discouraged. You will always be happy after that. Help them in going through. I think it's important.
Very good. Dr. Olivier, thank you.
Thank
for
you
this
so much.
Very nice interview.
Thank you for coming for the
Thank you,
interview.
Dr.
Good
Yao.
to see you.
Good to see you.